Call to order, please. I'd like to welcome those in attendance and thank you for attending our monthly meeting of the South Bay Township Board of Supervisors. Roll call. We have 4 supervisors present. We also have Russ Grego. He's working with us on Zoom. You'll hear his voice later on. So they're all 5 are accountable. We also have our township manager, our township assistant manager, fire chief, our township solicitor, our township police chief, and our township engineer. Okay, would you please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment time. The Township Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time on this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the Board of Supervisors on any matter. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. We do have a speaker this evening.
Yes, we have one on the sign-in sheet, Mr. Stoner.
So, I'm in the North Gator Apartments. It's a no smoking facility due to they did not have a sprinkler system in there. And negotiated by the government, which Mr. Kramer spoke to the manager and complained about the smoking issue. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but it's bad. It burns your eyes. Do it mild before it turns okay. He sent a letter for me down there, and her reference to me was call the police. It's not a police matter, it's a civil matter. I have people in the building my fiance lives in, they smoke like chimneys. I told Mr. Kramer that there's people in that building, at least one is on oxygen. Oxygen and a fire, he knows very well what's going to happen. I don't want anything to happen. I just want this rectified, okay? I don't know what to do. She tells me I'm supposed to call your police department. I've also talked to your chief. My hands are tied. I don't know what to do. She don't want to deal with it, but yet she lets it go on. On the weekends, there are buildings you walk through. You'll get high walking through them. I really, honest to God, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, okay? I know what pot smells like, but I don't know what cranks, meth, all that kind of stuff. I don't know what they're smoking. But if you're sitting on her couch certain days in the evening, I only go there on weekends, literally your eyes burn, your mouth's burning. I don't know what to do. And sir, gentlemen, I don't know how to address this.
Oh, still for a minute. Can you brief us a little bit what you found on that? Did you go on?
Yeah, we spoke with the general manager of Northgate Apartments. We provided fire code reference and reminded her that that facility is supposed to be a no facility. Per the fire code as the fire marshal, we can dub any facility it would be unsafe to smoke in as a no smoking facility, which we've communicated with her. She responded via letter and told me that she was going to address that and put reminders out. It puts up, because it's a private property, it starts to go into a difficult area of how far we could go as the fire department as far as that enforcement goes. Something that's, we want to take even further steps with that. We would have to consult Mr. Magle about what the appropriate course would be.
Is this, if you don't mind, I represent like a housing authority in another county. Is this a public agency, this Northgate Apartments, or is it?
It's privately owned, sir.
Privately owned?
Right.
Yeah. And the owners live in New Jersey. They have a district manager. I've talked to her. And she said, oh, I'll address this. Next time I called her, or my fiance called her, we were told, do not ever call her again. With the manager this month. She tells me to call the police. I'm a maintenance director, okay? I work in a facility. I start smelling smoke. I don't know if it's a ballast. I don't know if I have electrical, units that are burning up. Our hands are tied. I says, oh, can I call, no, don't you dare call my maintenance man. I would want to know if my hospital's on fire. But no, I have to call one of those two gentlemen there.
I don't think it, well, there's Northgate Park, there's some in South Trevine, some aren't.
No, I'm in North.
Northgate, I mean.
Yes, sir.
Some, part of it's in South Trevine, the rest of it.
Some it's in South Trevine, some.
North Gate,
It's
South
split.
Gate, West Gate is in City of Washington.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get back to you very, very soon. We'll talk about it and we'll see what we come up with, okay?
Okay.
With the help of our solicitor.
Okay. I'll
Okay?
leave my name and,
Yeah,
address
this
with
was the
someone.
township name.
I have.
What we talked, you still have them?
I do still have it right in the middle of my
No,
desk.
I've got to try to address this because now she's on an inhaler, she's getting, I'm trying to find another apartment for her. But really, seriously, a lot of these places, I wouldn't put a dog in them. It's a very nice facility, it's not enforced. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
For reference to, we have other apartment buildings in the township. I can tell you, Thomas Campbell, for example, we report that a resident smoking, or if we get a complaint from a resident due to safety because someone's smoking, we report that to the general manager, and she handles that, because that is who's supposed to handle that. But she does a good job at acting on that.
Does she have a lease with that company?
Yes, sir. And if you violate your lease, the 2 months ahead plus the month you're in, okay, then it's gonna cost you to move out. So you're looking at close to $3,000 to move out.
Can you give a copy at least to the township manager or Jordan, please?
I can make copies of mine and I'll have her bring over mine, please. It says there like 6 or 7 times. If you're caught smoking, you're out. That's period. You're out. But don't call my maintenance man. Nope, I don't have time. I'm not paying you overtime. She says to me, how do you prove a smell, sir? It's like prove a sound. 10 minutes later, it's gone.
Gotcha.
Okay, I will get one up here. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
I
you.
appreciate your time, sir. All of you.
Okay, let's move on. Anyone else?
No.
Anyone else?
I do have one question. I haven't signed up because I just
You
made
can,
me a
you can
question.
do it. You can do it right now. Go ahead. Come on.
Okay, my name's Teresa. I live up on Sunset Boulevard. Just wonder if there's an update on what they're doing with the school. Because it's privately owned now in the
Mr.
township.
Ziegler, you have any further?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since the last meeting or even before the last meeting regarding what the gentleman's planning on doing with Pat.
Okay, well, like I said, I'm
Yeah.
just curious. I wasn't gonna sign up for that. So, thank you.
Anyone else?
Has it been maintained better than it was before?
Oh my gosh, that grass is cut more than mine, yes. Yes.
And it's not an eyesore?
No, not at all.
Good.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Okay, meeting minutes, number 4, meeting minutes, need a motion to approve the Board of Supervisors meeting minutes dated May 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. I need a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bowl. All those in favor of, any discussion, discussionization? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The rest, go ahead. Aye. Thank you very much. Motion passes a 5-0 vote. 5, financial bills. Need a motion to approve the payroll for the periods of May 12th, 2024 through May 25, 24, and May 26, 24 through June 8th, 2024, and bills for the period of May 25th, 2024 through June 21, 2024. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. A second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bowl. Any discussion on this issue? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Russ. Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Ziegler, is there any announcements?
No.
What about your schedule for July
Oh,
4th?
we could do that now. I had that on my manager.
Okay, well, you can wait. You can wait. Okay, we'll just move on. Okay, township reports and presentations. Order A, municipal separate storm sewer system, MS4 report. The Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time on this item for comments regarding the topic of stormwater. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. This time, you don't have to be signed up, but if you want to talk about this, this is your chance. Is anybody on Zoom ready to check it in?
We've got 8 people on there. No one's indicated they would like to speak on it.
Okay.
How we doing with manifolds? Yeah, restoration of the street through there. We've done anything with that?
We have
The
not.
LSA money?
Kevin was looking to discuss access to the property. But the property owners, so that's the last I read of it. I think he was also using Russ as a resource for that, so.
Let's move on then. Letter B, Township Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of items. I'll start with the sort of building update report. Just like to start by saying that Tropical Smoothie Cafe, I've updated on that a couple times for the last couple of months, that is now open for business. The Five Below store at the Old Mill Plaza, interior renovations there are complete. The Greenbrier treatment on Manor Drive, they're going to be doing some renovations to their lobby. It's in the plan review right now. Heat Retreat, it's a tanning place on 250 Oak Spring Road near Eat Park. An occupancy permit has been issued for them. And then finally, on this particular area, Dick's Sporting Goods, the store, slight delay on the construction due to trying to locate some utility connections, sanitary specifically. Hoping to start building in August. Thinking he's ready to say something, but
That was just Russ.
Park and Rec, just a couple of items on Park and Rec I wanted to mention. I mentioned this last month, but I want to let you know the Kennywood tickets are still on sale. Any resident who is interested can come to the township office and get some of those for $32 each. The Walking Trail Yoga program, there's 3 dates coming up. One July 12th, one August 2nd, one on September 6th from 6 to 7. This is an instructor-led class. You'd walk along the walking trail, stopping periodically to do yoga to enhance your health, flexibility, and strength, and all that. It's free to participants. If you want to participate, wear good walking shoes and bring a bottle of water. Also wanted to note that the township office would be closed on Thursday and Friday of next week, July 4th and 5th, for the Independence holiday. And then lastly, I wanted to note that Public Works is out and about this week and the next couple of weeks doing pothole repair and road work. They're up in Floral Hill Drive today and yesterday doing some milling, and they're going to do some paving. So if you live in one of those areas or travel through one of those areas, please slow down and protect your car as well as our employees.
Did it?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Secretary Treasurer report, you've already given that to us. Township Solicitor.
Yes, Mr. Weber. The office has been involved in various land use appeals and things of that nature, issues. It's been quiet pretty much, so everything's settling down a little bit. So nothing much to talk about.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Township Engineer, thanks for coming forward there. Well, go ahead.
I only have 2 items to update you on. First one's on Burger Matter. We're going to talk a little bit more about Burger Matter earlier on the agenda, but what will be like the continuation of the project we refer to as phase 2. I've received word that they're going to start that grading work probably next week. Probably within 2 weeks, they'll start getting into some of the sewer. Start back on site, watching that work happen. The other one is in regard to the sewer support, the pollution reduction plan projects that we're required to develop and submit to the DEP. We're very close on those. We've identified 4 key areas that are related to areas where you guys have no stormwater problems. So we're seeking to get credit for the pollution reduction by doing projects in areas where you already have no issues. We're getting close. We're going to be able to sit down with staff and go through those. Then we bring them to you after that. So those are really the only major updates I have at this point.
Any board member with questions, Engineer?
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 of them. First question is the issue on Corey Road, that private bridge that's causing problems. Have we done anything else on that?
That is one of the areas we're looking at. We have not done anything specific to deal with that the private bridge issue, but we've looked at that. That is one of the key areas we're looking for as far as a stormwater improvement project.
And where I believe our road right of way is 30 foot there, and that's 15. That bridge is on private property.
Correct.
And I think we need to get that think we need to get that dealt with. That's went on long enough, and we don't need to go through another winter with icy conditions for anybody.
Okay.
Jeff, there's,
So are you suggesting that we approach the private property owner?
it would be my opinion, whenever he put the sides on the bridge, that's what created the problem, diverted the water onto the road. That made it worse. You know, did he have the proper credentials when he did it?
As far as we've been able to tell, we did look into that. And as far as we've been able to tell, unless we provide a time frame, which nobody really seems to have any time frame when the original bridge or culvert was constructed, there's no record of it with the conservation district.
And it should have been correct.
Theoretically, but we don't know exactly when it was built either, so they're kind of limited in their search beyond a certain point. So they looked as far as they could in the searchable database they have. Beyond, I think, 15 or 20 years ago, they don't have records that are digital. So unless we have one at the time, it happened somewhere at this date or in this date range, they really weren't able to look for us, but they weren't able to identify a person.
Well, I don't want to wait till a school bus goes off the road or something else worse happens. And an ambulance or a fire truck or whatever, that needs addressed before winter. And I think we need to do whatever we need to do to start the process before the township becomes part of the problem.
Russ, you want to say something?
Yes, if you go on Parcel Viewer, it'll tell you when that house was built. And they would have had to put the bridge in to get the building materials across the creek. So that should give you a time frame.
But the bridge was modified, correct, Russ?
It was modified more than once. That has been washed out, when I was there, at least 3 times.
So,
And that house was built, I know, before I took over when Reed passed. But you should be able to get a time frame off of Parcel Viewer.
I'll get together with Jeff. That is talk about how we want to. But it is a private property at this point, so.
Anything else? Yeah. Thank you very much.
Florida was on my list. I didn't get there before tonight.
oh, yep. Thank you, and thank you. There was something else. I got a phone call from a resident of Floral Hill. Somebody that never complains or says anything. And he says, I appreciate you fixing the road, but people are going a lot faster than I've always been an offender. I've gotten better in my old age of speeding up through there, especially right off where you pull up in there. Is there anything that we can do something to calm that down? You know, I don't know whether it's you got the car there or whatever. You know, there's a lot of kids up there. And he said, hey, when my grandkids are here, you know, Jeff, I don't want to deal with this. And I'm not going to mention the fellow's name. I asked him to come tonight. He said he just wasn't in a position to do that at this point in time. But we need to address that.
If I could speak, there's various traffic calming devices. You're aware of those. It was a publication 405 or something.
Yeah, there's a process.
And basically, like they have in East Washington Borough, they have that like platform or something. I think they also have in Peters Township.
Speed humps. They do.
Oh, they can't, no, the speed humps aren't legal. I mean, that's not.
Bumps aren't legal, humps are.
But they have these things, you know what I'm talking about. You have like, you go up and you have a
Raised
platform.
intersections.
What's that?
Raised intersections.
Raise it. So they have different things you can do. So you may want to take a look at that publication. I think it's 405.
Yeah.
It provides different options for you folks to look at.
Yeah, and there's a process. It's a process to approve those. So I mean, if that's something we want to look at. So.
And I think we'd also have to talk to Liquid Fuels Department also, because they have,
That was my next
they'll have certain issues with that, because I know someplace else that they did it without telling them, they got a scathing letter from Liquid Fuels.
They took their liquid fuels away, did they not?
Yeah, I think they did.
And I don't think we want to do anything to sacrifice that.
Yeah, and there's, like I said, there's a process. I mean, the process is outlined in the PennDOT publication. So just need to go through this statute, notifications, but so it's not something that happened overnight, but it's something we can look at. It's one of the things that we identified in the LSA grant application for Ferry Road. And it's something we'll look at on that road too. So it's something that's on our radar before. That certainly do that.
Mr. Webb.
Too, so.
Well,
Yeah.
go ahead, Russ.
Mr. Frazier's, he recently passed away. He gave permission, there is a grass pull off, and we put, with the police's help, measured out and put the white lines a while back, and it helped. The speed humps and speed bumps, they're very difficult to keep the road clean if it's a plow with snow. You can actually create a road hazard because it picks the blade up at different times, the front and the rear, and it always leaves slush. We might want to check to see with the police to repaint those lines. It seemed to help last time.
I agree with Russ. I'm not a fan of speed calming, especially on that embankment where the road comes down there on that grade. And if something would happen that the road department wouldn't get there at a timely manner, it's just going to create a mess. I think that if we could get the lines back in, and that would be a start. Unfortunately,
I'm not sure if the property exchanged hands, but there is a grass pull off, and the police did park there, and it worked very efficient. People slowed down. You might have to approach and see who owns that property and see if it's still okay for a police car to sit there.
Thank you. Mr. Weber, can I bring up one other thing I meant to bring it up under Jeff's report, and this is to Drew too. I've had 3 people call me about the panhandling that's going up into Walmart and going up into the Giant Eagle development. And I understand the big picture, but the facts are simply this: they don't pick up after themselves. That's the gateway to our community for a lot of people that come here. They go there, and if we're going to charge a mercantile tax, we have no business allowing people to compete on the mercantile tax and then not pay it. That's not fair. So I don't know the answer, but I would think that we would have people through there enough that, hey, just tell them to move along, don't come back. Unless, can you get a permit to do that in South Bend? I don't think you can get a permit for, you can get a permit to go knock on doors, but I don't think you can get a permit for that. So.
Chief, just take care of it. You'll take care of that? Well,
As our own ordinance, you can't get permits to do that. It's not a violation of the ordinance to do that. Where we're at in the legal standing now is they cannot be on that Route 19. That's ultimately where the problem is. They legally can be in Trinity Point and Strabane Square Drive. We do have authorization from both developments saying that they wrote us a letter saying we don't want them there. Please remove them. So we do, on the basis of that, say, hey, you're violating the rules of the facility, please leave. But usually it's not, we're not there right away. Like I said, have people through there enough. Yeah, our people are going through there enough, so they're usually going to someplace up there by the time they see it, and then they come back. And so that's generally how it works. They're going to Walmart for some other reason, and then on the way back out, they'll tell them to leave. But an hour could have passed there, or even longer, and of course a lot of people see it. So, but the officers are under direction to remove them based on the developers do not want them there. So that on that basis, we ask them to leave.
And thank you for putting the speed up on Berry Road. I don't know if it's helped or not, but it sure hasn't hurt anything. Those are good subtle reminders to slow your ass down.
They really are. They're a good tool. And unfortunately, they're a little pricey. But, which I have a whole fleet of. They're a little pricey.
Do you still have the cart that had the speeds on it?
No, we never owned one of those. I'll try to do it. Yeah, last quote we had one of those was $25,000, I think. So they're very expensive, and we don't have access to one. I think maybe we used to. That was 15, 20 years ago.
Mr. Zipco, have they helped, do you think?
Did they slow the traffic down?
Yes.
Just for the sign, and then as soon as they get past it, because that's what people do when they see those things. slow down because they're showing them what they're doing it, that's it. So, yeah.
Could we put some of the lines on Berry Road? Would that help? I mean, you know what they're there when they're going that way for. That always tells me to look at your daughter.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks, Chief. Let's move on, please. Number 8, unfinished business, there is none. Under new business that the board would, not object, I'm gonna take B and make it, the first issue this evening because of the time constraint for our visitor for the insurance. We do want to have him speak and, ask questions if we have to. So would you come to the podium, Paul? And then, before he speaks, Jeff, would you read the, summary of the thing of the folks that we're talking about?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so the township's insurance carrier is Selective Insurance Group, which provides coverage for property, inland marine, general liability, commercial automobile, umbrella, public officials liability, employment practices liability, police professional, and cybersecurity. Each year prior to the expiration of the policy period, which runs July 1, 23 through July 1, 24, and in consultation with the township's insurance broker, Paul B&W Insurance, the township solicits proposals for insurance carriers to seek out competitive rates and coverages. Selective Insurance Group, the township's current provider, has been recommended for renewal at a cost of $77,357 per year, which is a 0.1% decrease from the previous year. It's not a lot, but it's in a world where everything seems to be going up in price. It's nice to get something going the other direction. This will be the 5th year the township's been covered by Selective, so we have a history with Selective.
We don't need an extensive overview, but you can give us some information might be beneficial to us about this.
Well,
we'd like to hear it.
So I took your account out to other markets. Cincinnati Insurance, Penn National, Grundy, all came back and they declined because of police force. They don't offer that coverage any longer. National Union came in with a price of over $120,000. And Selective basically took your account and they increased your property values by almost $500,000. Then they added computer fraud and transfer, like coverage onto the cyber. And I know I talked to Jeff about the cyber and we may increase the coverage now. But Selective is a company that will cover all aspects of the municipality. So they're covering, like, saying the property, general liability, police professional, public officials, cyber. The only coverages out there is the workers' comp, which is through, I believe, the MR Trust.
Yes, that's right.
So Selective also covers an endorsement that I was going over with Jeff, is PA Act 477 for police officers to bring their pay under a hard month. They're offering that coverage also. We're looking into if the MR Trust is giving that coverage to them.
Well, just Selective, they offer the best protection.
Yes.
From what you can check out.
Yes.
Any of the board members have any questions of Paul?
I just have one. I know you said about the cyber. Is that covered through this policy or not?
Yes.
Who is it? This company?
Selective, yes.
Well, on the thing we got, it says right here, cyber liability and data breach cover with American Alternative is not offered.
That's American, that's a different company.
So it's a different company, but we do have it.
Yes,
So what I
Selective is-
have here says we don't have it.
That was the second company.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Weber, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sorry, and I've been dealing with cyber liability all over the place. Is that sufficient for the township?
In the past, it was. There's the coverage is there. It's the limits that I'm concerned with. The one coverage that I added this year was the computer transfer of funds. And that coverage is what, when you're sending the money out, if you get someone sending you an email that says, hey, pay this invoice, they send the check out, or they do ACH, and it's not the real person that check's supposed to go to. That is a $100,000 limit. The other side of the cyber liability right now is what they give standard to municipalities selected. It can be increased up to $1 million. And I'd have to get with Jeff to say, okay, where are your holes or what would you want to increase from the limits that are on there now?
I had one township where they accessed the police departments.
Yes.
Files, caused a lot of consternation.
Like one of them is where they take over the system and they do the extortion. I believe this policy is 20,000 for ransom. You could increase that up to 100,000. You could increase it to $1 million if they do take over the system.
That's my own experience. It was a big concern for us. We didn't hit the newspaper though.
There's been a couple of municipalities on it.
Really? So do you recommend what we have in terms of life coverage?
That format, yes, but I don't know what your computer system or what you have in place for protection.
Jordan? Protection, do we have good protection or not?
As far as from our IT vendor,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, we use a firewall and some other things that are pretty good, but what we've learned in the emergency management sector with homeland security and that type of thing, it's that those quantities, those amounts payable need to go up. So I mean, we just did that on our fire department policy also.
Most of them are increasing them, but I stayed with what you had, and I was going to address that with Jeff.
We actually use automatic clearinghouse for what transactions, Jeff? Mr. Ziegler, I'm sorry.
So what's the question?
What do we actually use for automatic clearinghouse ACH transactions? Do we do a lot of that?
We do, that's all web-based, right? I mean,
We do, we pay, like our utilities, ACH, there's some things we pay ACH, it's not a lot, but it's mainly our Columbia Gas and Verizon, things like that, we pay ACH.
For the cost of the additional insurance, and it doesn't cover the tax collector, correct?
They're part of, yeah, they're part of the municipality. We have an endorsement on here that appointees, elected officials, or employees are part of the policy also. So,
Well, I'm old fashioned. I'd rather write a check and put a stamp on it because that way you just less chances of error.
with that policy with the computer transfer, it's basically where you're sending the money out.
Yeah.
You'll get an invoice in, they'll either hack into your email and find out who's paying the bills. They'll take one of your invoices, make it look like exactly like the other one, but a couple things off, then send it to a different bank account. They'll give you a different bank account, you send that check to it, and then the real provider or the real vendor says, hey, you didn't pay me. You're like, yeah, I sent it on this day. And then you start going through it, the money went to a different bank account and it's gone at that point. And right now there's 100,000 covered. So if you look at it one way, do you ever send out a check for more than 100,000 without confirming?
And we don't, and can I just say too, like, for what Paul's saying, we don't send individual ACHs for different bills. It's companies that we know that we pay from their websites and things. It's not like we wouldn't, if I were to get a bill and it would say, send me this money ACH, and look like someone we know, we would check that out definitely. We don't,
I don't have any worry with her doing that. It's just when, like you said, people come in, get your information, make it look legitimate, you know, and I mean, we got a check from Canton Township one time when we were in business, and I called them 4 or 5 months later and says, hey, this bill is outstanding. Says, oh, we paid it. Well, somebody had stolen the check out of our mailbox, modified the check and made it for, rather than $61, they made it for, I think it was $4,800, and it was cashed, and I don't know why it was never caught in the reconciliation process, and I guess that's, you know, that can happen, but I don't think you have to worry about her. And I don't think we need any more than that. If that's all she's doing with it, I think that would be adequate.
George, you have any
We
questions?
talked about when we met about cyber extortion, people holding your data hostage and so forth. And want to talk about that a little bit as far as like some of these people that try and do this or try and get out of you what your coverage is, and then that's what the ransom is.
Right, so there's cyber extortion on this policy is a $20,000 limit. So if they take over your computer system and you come in, can't get in the system, somehow they'll contact you and say, you're gonna pay us $100,000. At that point, say, my policy pays $20,000, will you accept that? And you give up that $20,000. Most likely, they're gonna take the 20 if they do, if they're even gonna get that computer. But you do have the 20,000 coverage. And as, like I said, the policy aggregate limit is 100,000. That could be increased to $1 million. The extortion could also be increased. And electronic crime is 10,000. But that's, the crime part also goes into employee dishonesty, which we have 100,000. We increase that from 50 to 100,000 this year. Also, the employee dishonesty.
Okay. George, you have a question?
He just answered that.
Oh, you're okay?
Yep.
Russ, you have a question?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming over. We appreciate it. Okay, a motion. Yeah, where it's a motion, need a motion to approve the township general liability insurance renewal for 2024 to 2025.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Monroe. Need a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles. Any further discussion? I've kind of exhausted that, but there is. Now, if not, that all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Russ. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Okay, let's move back, and I want to thank Steve Cipher for giving up his host position, and so we can take care of Paul there at the beginning, and I do appreciate it. And before I call Steve Cipher up, I failed to recognize our financial analyst at the beginning, Reed. And by the way, folks, so you know, she's an excellent financial director for our township. We're very happy to have her. She's done a good job. I think Steve and you also back that up when it comes up. So Steve, you're on. Basically, what's happening here, folks, is he's going to report what his findings in our audit. How long you've been our Steve? How many years ago? You guys know? I always forget how many. You don't know?
In a while.
For a while, okay.
6, 7.
Okay, good. That's all right.
Evening Supervisors, thank you for inviting us here. Talk about the audit for 2023. The presentation is on the wall, and I guess the public. So if you have any questions as we go through this, all of them, we'll go to page 2. As we mentioned, we're here to talk about the 2023 audit. The reason for the audit is the township code requires an annual audit of the township financial statement. The financial statements are prepared on what are known as the modified cash basis of the township. And the important thing for the supervisors to keep in mind that everything in the audit report that we receive is the responsibility of the township manager and his staff. Our responsibility is to the board of supervisors who work for you and directly for the public as well. And we use generally accepted auditing standards to conduct the audit. The purpose of audit is to give you an opinion from us to whether the statements represent where you were December 31st, how you got there. If you look at the bottom of page 2, the audit opinion is unmodified. It's exactly what the supervisor should expect to see. Anything less than that would be totally unacceptable. When we go to page 3, I'm sorry, we talk about the balance sheet. A balance sheet is a snapshot at a point in time. In this case, December 31st. General fund finished the year with current assets of some $1,038,000. The largest piece of that was cash and investment, $917,000.
and we had some, interfund receivables of $121,000. We had current liabilities of just a bit over 30, total tax deposits of 21, 2,800 of payroll deductions of holding, and the general fund owed a small amount of money to other funds. The difference between the current assets and liabilities is the fund balance, stands at $1,008,000 at December 31st. The other significant balances that we have is in the second column, you see liquid fuel, $210,000, the drug investigation fund, $88,000, small amount of $50,000 in capital project, and the remaining balance in fire protection of $95,000. Let me go to the next page. We talk about fund balance for a bit. We talk about these three things all the time. Fund balance is number one to working capital. Not a lot of money comes in December, January, February until we send the tax bills out. We need working capital to pay the bills, pay the payroll, and so forth until that money rolls in. It's also the contingency fund. Have a bad winter, have some other calamity take place that the township is required to spend funds. If you don't have a fund balance, it becomes very difficult. You have to scramble to contingency fund. The third thing is it gives you, as a supervisor, the ability to do the job that the voters put here for, which is to make South Savannah Township better tomorrow than it is today. Without money in the bank, you don't have the ability to do that. Very important. The history lesson is on page 5. This is a multi-year history going back to 2014 of the general fund balance. You can see it's moved up and down like a roller coaster. But in the past 3 years, the fund balance has climbed steadily. Presently stands in at that $1,008,000 we talked about. The question you should be asking yourselves, and people ask us, well, how much is a good fund balance to have? There's 5 people in this room who know the right answer to that, and you're sitting here and on the phone. Yet the unenviable task of raising your own taxes. We can offer rules of thumb. And if you go to the next page, the gold colored column is that $1,008,000 we talked about. For a township of our size, 10, 15, 20% is a rule of thumb. Presently, we have about 13% of the 2024 budget in fund balance. It's the mid-range, but and again, if we emphasize, only the supervisors know what that correct answer is. And how do you help yourself to decide that? Take a look at what's happening in the township. What's our 5-year plan? How much money are we going to use to do this, that, and the other thing? And that helps you develop a way to manage your resources. When we go to page 7, probably most important financial decision that you make in a year is your budget. Last year, the general fund brought in some $7.7 million. Spent a bit less than that, 7.4. That subject to fund balance did go up $291,000. With regard to your budget, brought in about $694,000 more than we anticipated. We were over budget in Act 13 grant money. Most places are. You don't want to be budgeting something you don't have a clue what you're going to get. The second thing is intergovernmental revenue. This is the year in which we finally spent a good bit of the COVID money that we received, and not only we received, but many other governments as well. That until you spend the money, that is not your money. When we looked at the budget for earned income tax, that went way over. And school districts, we ought to be the 23 school districts, and probably another 15 municipalities. That happened almost universally. It kind of represents that the economy, at least from a wage standpoint, pay. So we're the beneficiaries of that because we collect the wage tax. With regard to the expenditure budget, 301,000 over budget. We're over budget on workers' comp, over budget on debt service payments due to some capital leases that we require. But the thing that we would say that the money that we didn't know we wanted to transfer federal shows up as an expenditure as well, and that's another one of the reasons that we spent more than we anticipated as 301. On page 8, I won't spend a lot of time on that. The gold represents the budget. The yellow is the other way around. The budget is the red color, gold is the actual, what we actually did. The one thing that we can say is that's the main market trend of this. In almost every government that we did this past year, the real estate tax collected was less than we thought we were going to get. We have to collect it a bit more here. It's only about $4,000 without looking, but it's up the trend that we're seeing everywhere else. We mentioned the local enabling taxes. Again, those are the wage taxes that we're collecting, LSP, transfer taxes, and so forth. And you can see that almost every other category achieved the budget slightly over again in governmental. The expenditures on the next page. Again, red color is the budget, the gold is the actual. We spent slightly less in general government than we thought we would. Public safety owes that budget. I'm doing the street budget, but part of that is because we have liquid fuel paying for some of those bills. Employee benefits, insurance, and other costs were over the budget. The next 2 pages is comparing last year to this year. Again, not spending a lot of time, but you can see that across the board, almost everything is similar to what it was in 2022. The expenditures on page 11. Federal government, we spent less this year. Public safety, we spent a lot more. Highway, slightly less. Employee benefits, insurance, and miscellaneous, significantly more. We have a couple of pie charts to share with you. Page 12, public safety expense. Arguably, we're making sure that our citizens are well protected. This is the biggest expenditure of the country, as it is in most local government. As you can see, the big part of the pie, wages, salaries, and benefits for the police department, $1,867,000. The fire department is the part of the pie around the 6, 7, 8 o'clock area, $926,000. Everything else was widely spread over a variety of expenditure areas. We have a similar chart for employee benefits as a whole. And this, we calculate all these numbers and says, okay, what did we spend on Medicare, unemployment, workers' comp, and pension? $1,365,000. Public works health insurance, 125. Fire department health insurance, 128. Public safety, 269. And the general insurance bill is about $58,000. Page 14, streets and highways, second biggest area of expenditure. The biggest piece of that, the public works wages and employee benefits, $545,000. That's the gold part starting at midnight through about 7 o'clock. Road construction, $127,000. Street supplies and administrative, $125,000. Repairs and maintenance, $109,000. Given that we don't have much of a winter anymore, cinders was $2,025. The last thing that we'll often talk about tonight is the management letter. It's our opportunity to give you concluding comments on the audit. We talked about fund balance at $1,008,000. We're in the mid-range of recommended fund balance. If you can hold it there, that would be a great thing. But again, we need to look out and say, what do we have coming at us as South Sudan Township? The confluence of two major highways and Route 19, a lot can happen here. We look up the street to Anna McMillan, high school district area. A lot is happening there, again, because of where we are. Investments in cash management, and this includes our comment on the pension fund. We maintain some of our pension money with Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System. Folks, these people haven't for 5 years been able to give us current information. But what you see in the audit report is actually 22 balances. They don't have the 22 balances. And I know I say this every year, but if this was a private company doing this for the township, the SEC would put them out of business. But for the state of Pennsylvania, so we don't do that. They get a pass. I don't think it's proper what they do. Couple bookkeeping matters that we're not going to go into a great deal of detail. Controls over the sanitary operations, capping fees, that should be reviewed on a monthly basis. Act 13 and gaming funds, they have their own separate footbooks. It's something that we recommended before. The one thing that the township supervisors might want to consider, you don't want that specifically residing in the general fund, would be to make a vote to change those to separate funds. They don't have to be. It's kind of a hybrid. Half of the municipal government that we do put that money in a separate fund, half of them leave it in the general fund. Given the leeway that we have with both sets of funding, there's no necessity to do it, but it's something that you can do. There's been a good deal of improvement in reconciliation of the escrow account. Congratulations to the township on that. That's been a difficult area, and it is for most governments. There isn't good software out there that makes the job easy. So we're moving to Excel spreadsheets. They're now being reconciled on a monthly basis, and that's a good thing. Regulatory matters, every year the bid requirements are up by the inflation. This year, under 12,600 requires no formal bid. Between 12,600 and 23,200, 3 phone quotes, 2 written quotes, and 23,200 and over requires a formal bid. Segregation of duties and risk management. Arguably, folks, the most important job that you have is risk management. How is that properly defined? That you can protect what the township has, spend it properly, and at the end of the day, tell them that it was spent. An audit opinion that's unmodified. That's exactly what you want to exercising that proper risk management. But there's always opportunities to do that, and so you should be looking out for that. The balance of the management letter is required communication, so we have to tell you we did not have difficulty performing the audit. We had no disagreement with the township management. The no disclosures are clear and concise as they should be. And the last thing that we would say is thanks to Mr. Ziegler, Mrs. Kaufman, and Mr. Carrier. The audit went very smoothly. Thank them very much for the cooperation we got. And our final thanks to the supervisors. We appreciate the opportunity to be the auditors. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer those.
Yeah, it is a good time for members of the board to ask questions. Anybody want to be first? George, you have some questions tonight? Actually, maybe.
Just the pension. So where do we, or when do we get the 2023 numbers or the information for that?
I have a vote.
Okay.
Go ahead
Pension.
and ask that again.
For 2023, the pension,
Mhm.
when will we get, or how do we get that information, or?
That's a good question. So long as we've gotten anybody's yet,
I think we've got some.
And kind of down in the order in which they receive. We send all of our information in at the township timely. The ideal situation would be for them to give us that information in time for the audit. I think we got it in October of last year, meaning for 22, we got it in October of 22. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to suggest that we not take action on accepting the audit. I just received the audit last Friday evening. That's a lot to read and comprehend. Not drinking caffeine took care of that for me. I would just like to do that. I mean, thank you for your report. Things are improving. The good news is things are improving.
If you have questions, we're happy to come back. We'll meet with you. We can come down to the day, whenever we can. There's no rules that we have to approve our report tonight.
Right.
So, fine with that. But if you have other questions, we're glad to sit down after.
I would just like to have a clear and accurate understanding, and I don't want to assume anything. I'd like to look at a few things. There's a couple of questions that I had, didn't write them down because I was going to ask them that we just put it off till next month. Let us get with the staff, get the questions answered, and then once that's done, put it on for the next month.
Any questions?
No, I'll wait till, I did, but I'll wait. I read it all.
Russ?
No, I read it all. I don't have a problem tabling it. The staff, from what I'm seeing, has done a great job. We've been in a downhill spiral for 7 years, and it looks like the fund balance is actually going in the right direction. First time in a long time. Very pleased.
Well, the issue was brought up.
I'll make a motion to table it.
Yeah. We need to
I'll
table
second
motion.
it.
Second motion, okay. No discussing this issue. All in favor of tabling the issue, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, sir.
Motion carried 5-0 to table this particular issue.
Thank-
By the way, thank you.
Thank
for
you.
your-
Thank you.
Yeah, Thank you.
Thank you. Clear as mud now.
Yes, we will letter C, resolution approved the land use assumptions report created by Trent Search Engineering Consultants and prepared for the Traffic Impact Fee Advisory Committee. Mr. Ziegler, you want to go briefly on that so folks know what's going on?
Yeah, so the township decided late last fall to embark on doing a traffic impact fee ordinance. And it's a lengthy process, about 18 months. And there's various benchmarks and steps you go through along the way. The first step in the process is to develop a land use assumptions report. That was done with our committee. And then we had a public hearing on June 4th at 6 o'clock right here in this room. And those comments that were received during the public hearing were incorporated into the document. The documents provided here. The next step then would be for the board to approve that land use assumptions report by resolution and then continue to move along. Mr. Getz from Trans Associates, who we've been working with, is in the audience. If there's any questions for him or if you'd like to say anything additional.
Just give you basically what starts off, just give us an update where we started and where we are right now.
Yeah, sure. And that was a very good intro by Jeff. This is the first 3 studies, land use assumptions report. The purpose of it is to set forth proposed projected development in the township over the next 20 years. The reason for that is we need to generate traffic on the roads through the intersections in order to do the The second study, which will be the roadway sufficiency analysis, from that study then we'll go into the capital improvements program that will determine what improvements, where they're needed, how much they cost, when they should be implemented, and ultimately what the impact fee per trip should be set at.
This is like first phase, is this right now?
That's a good way to put it, yes.
Mr. Ziegler, anything? Do we need anything else we need to
Oh, we just need to pass a resolution and then we're ready.
have this program move on, right?
Right.
Pass this, okay. Motion to approve the resolution approving the land use assumptions report created by Transit Systems Engineering Consultants, Inc. and prepared for the Traffic Impact Fee Advisory Committee. Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Did a second. Thanks, George. Any further discussion on the issue? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. That's a roll call vote, wait, sorry. I'm not hearing it right here.
Okay. Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
Mr. Grego?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
And Mr. Bull?
No.
Okay, motion passes 4-1. Thank you very much, Mr. Ziegler. Okay. Flip the page, let's go to the letter D. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Motion to approve the lease agreement between South Trevane Township and Ambets Charities, Inc. for the use of a portion of the property at 99 Main Street for parking at Billy Bell Park. Mr. Ziegler, will you give a briefing of what that's all about?
Yes, so as I think everybody knows, Ambets Charity purchased the former laboratory school at 99 Man Street. Once we found out that they purchased the property, we reached out to them, had a dialogue, and were able to reach an agreement regarding parking for Billy Bell Park. That was an issue there that there's no on-site parking there. We'd had a parking agreement with the school district for many years prior, and now that we're lucky and fortunate enough that we were able to talk with the new owner, and they will provide parking for us, the same location, same number of spaces. In exchange for the parking, the township will continue to mow that grass lot between the parking lot and the school, which we have been cutting for many years. Just wanted to say, beyond that, Joe Chenley from Ambets Charities is here as well. If you'd like to introduce himself and maybe say a few words about Ambets.
Good evening, Chairman, Supervisors, Mr. Ziegler. Appreciate all the work so far that your staff has done with us. We just feel very welcome, and we're really looking forward to doing the work here, helping veterans and their families at that location. We're also moving our national headquarters from Washington, D.C. to the city of Washington here.
Which is on North Avenue.
On North Avenue. It was closed on that property yesterday. It was the Methodist Israel Synagogue and the house next door to it. So we're about 50 jobs into the area, a lot of services for veterans and their families. We're just really excited. We have everyone who has been here from my team has just felt so welcomed. People of this area have just really embraced us. We're really grateful for that. So we're very much committed to being good, productive citizens of this community, good neighbors, and beautiful park there. We're very happy to be able to help ensure that citizens here are able to enjoy the park.
We're very pleased that you came to our township.
I'm sorry?
We're very pleased you came to our township, but would you explain to the folks the type of services you're going to give to the veterans?
Sure. So obviously, we will be coming back before you to really formally propose how we're going to be doing this. But what our vision is for this particular property is to create apartments in the school. There are also kind of community rooms in there for veterans who have families who are going through difficult times, experiencing either homelessness or some type of financial crisis where they need some type of transitional housing for their entire families. Almost every transitional housing center in the United States segregates by gender. So a lot of husbands and wives, fathers and daughters, mothers and sons who are separated in that process. We know that the outcomes
for veterans and their families is much higher, much better if they're able to stay together. You know that this area already has a lot of resources for veterans who are going through some type of crisis, but there isn't any that really keeps those families together. So we think it's a unique service we're going to be able to provide there. We're also going to be able to provide free claims representation, free legal services there, and I think maybe the most important thing is the camaraderie, that sense of community there. And likewise, I think this will give people in the community an opportunity to be able to come in and meet these veterans and interact with them. We know a lot of these veterans will be coming in seeking training and jobs. They want to become part of the community. So we hopefully will be able to provide that gateway for them as well.
Very much, but I would give a chance to each of the board members. They'll have a question. Any board members?
Do you have any other of these facilities in the United States?
Not that's owned by our national charities. We have 8 others that are owned by our state levels. So our organization is a national level, which is what I run, and we have state levels in each state. And then we have what most people probably actually see are posts, much like the DFW Legion, it's really in the community level. As we've been looking throughout Southwest PA for a new national headquarters, we came across former laboratory school. We really thought it was too good of an opportunity to not use it to be able to help veterans. So this is something new for AMS charities to be able to do, but we have, there are 2 others in Pennsylvania, up near Scranton and over near Philadelphia. So we have successful models that we're basing this off. But one of the main reasons that we chose Washington County as our new home was that this county has the highest density of veterans anywhere in the continental United States. Alaska is a little bit higher, but a little bit too far for us. So we know that the need is very real here.
Any other board member have a question?
I just have one other question. Do you plan on, once your plan is fully executed, do you plan on having somebody on site 24 hours a day to supervise?
Absolutely.
Thank you, that's good.
Yeah, we'll probably have at least 2 staff members on duty 24/7 at that particular location. Probably not at the North Ave location.
Hey, Russ, anything?
No.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Need a motion to approve the lease agreement. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you very much, Bull. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Letter E, a motion adopting the resolution to execute a 5-year winter maintenance service agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for fiscal year 24 through 29. This is our typical thing we have to approve every year. Would you not name the sites anyway, Mr. Ziegler?
Yeah, well, so the township will, under this agreement, maintain the following state roads for the state: Lakeview Drive, Van Station Road, Zediker Station Road, Manifold Road, Davis School Road, and Oak Grove Road.
Motion to approve. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Second, please.
Second.
Thanks, Mr. Bull. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Motion opposed. Motion carried 5-0. Letter F, motion for preliminary and final subdivision approval for the Jurassic subdivision plan located at 209-211 Lakeview Drive in the R1 neighborhood residential district. Please, Mr. Ziegler.
Yeah, so what this is a simple subdivision where they're actually combining 2 parcels, which will allow the owner of one of the parcels to build a garage next to her home. Without doing this, you wouldn't be able to comply with the setback requirements. It's been in front of the planning commission, recommended for approval.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Okay, letter G, motion to award the sale of a 2015 Ford Police SUV, a 2013 Ford Taurus sedan, a York tow behind power broom, a 2009 New Holland skid steer, to the highest bidder acceptable by the township. Little description there, Mr. Ziegler?
Yes. So from time to time, the township needs to purchase new equipment, vehicles, and along with that comes a need to dispose of old equipment. There's a prescription for how you do that in second-class township code. One of the acceptable methodologies, and probably one of the more effective ones, is to do online bidding. Municipid is such a service, such a platform. These items that you just read through were listed on Municipid for about a month. We received unanimous bids or anonymous bids, which goes kind of like eBay. That's how that kind of format works. Bids went off, and what you see in front of you are the high bids that were received for each of the items. So what you have in front of you then is that the code also requires that the supervisors take action to accept the bids if you're so inclined. In other words, we can't just sell them because the auction went off. We need supervisory approval to do so.
Okay, this time.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like
Sure.
to make a motion that we sell everything except for the New Holland skid loader. I think our township would be best served at this stage. We're selling a broom. This way they can go out and be working and have the second machine to operate the broom. That'll keep the dirt out of the new machine. I was told that it's had some problems, but I also inquired and found out it has never been to a dealer to be serviced in its entire life. So that being said, I think the small issue there is with the transportation can be repaired. I think that the changes that we've made in the road department are working quite well. The people that work for Russ have taken over and done a great job and are stepping up to the plate. And they're the one that asked me for this. And that being said, I'd just like to make the motion that we keep it at least for another year to see how thing goes, or maybe 2 years till we get some of the road work caught up. We'll call it deferred maintenance and get on from there.
Okay, we'll take that under consideration once we take a look at this motion. Letter G, motion to award the sale of a 2015 Ford Police SUV, 2013 Ford Taurus sedan, York tow behind power room, and a 2009 New Holland skid steer to the highest bidder acceptable by the township. Do we? So move. Thank you. I need a second, please.
I made a motion.
Did you make?
You did make a motion.
A motion on this.
We sell everything except for the New Holland.
No, we're going to handle this one first. Then we'll.
That's
Did you make a motion to approve?
That's the motion, Bob.
That's part of it.
I'll second the motion. Your motion. Okay, now, all in favor of the motion, total package, indicate by saying aye.
Bob, I made a
Wait a
motion.
minute, just hear what they have to say. Say what you know. Motion, say aye.
I mean, we voting on it?
Yes.
Yeah, I vote to sell everything.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote on that.
Okay. Mr. Rowan?
No.
Mr. Grego?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
And Mr. Bull?
No.
Motion passed 3-2. No need for the next motion. Letter H.
Bob, that was the motion.
No.
What you did was wrong.
Motion to consider a bond reduction request for the Burkett Manor PRD. And I think I'm going to ask the board that on this particular issue, we don't have complete information yet. And the person who's going to speak to this issue could not make the meeting this evening. So we've scheduled a special meeting. What date is that?
Monday, January 1st.
Someone asked to have a motion to.
July 1st, I'm sorry.
I'll ask the motion to table this item.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we just don't even have a special meeting. There is no reason to reduce the bond. There are several things that they haven't done for this township. This is not in the best interest of the taxpayers for us to get any deeper on this until things are caught up with where they should be. They've not provided their actual bond for the sewer maintenance that they were supposed to. I don't believe that we need to let them start on phase 2 until we get the bonds in place. We've never had a bond for this, and that's just wrong. The township's been on the hook if something goes wrong. And there's no reason to have a meeting because they haven't done anything they said they were going to do to reduce the bond. Now, once they get their bond in here, their proper bond, and then we can reduce it. but they've never provided a bond. They provided a bond for one of their subcontractors, which was deceptive at best. It's just wrong, and the taxpayers are at risk if we do this. And once they produce everything the way they should, at the next meeting, then we can reduce the bond. But until they straighten up and fly right, I am not in favor of giving them anything.
Is our motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table. I mean, I'd rather have a meeting and you sit there and tell, we have a special meeting with this guy. That's what he needs to hear what you're saying. I agree with you.
Yes,
I want to
agree.
have a special meeting.
You gonna second the motion? Russ?
I'll
I'm
second.
gonna tell him we want this.
But our attorneys told them.
Hey, we got a first and second on the
First, no
table.
discussion,
There's no
motion
further
to
discussion.
First,
Yes, we vote on the table. Roll call vote on tabling the issue.
Yes, Mr. Rowan.
Table.
Motion
Table
to
to the
table.
special meeting. Mr. Grego,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
and Mr. Bull.
No.
Issue, motion passes 3-2. Motion to adjourn.
Can I ask something
Oh, sure.
before you adjourn?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I was late and I couldn't be here earlier. My name is Shelley Tupiani. I.
Your address, ma'am, for the record.
Yeah, we gotta get, come on up to the podium, please. And give your name, please, and address.
Sorry, my name is Shelley Tupiani. I am with City Mission, but I live in Cameron Estates. And for the last, this will be 3 years, our neighborhood and some of Washington Woods provide a food picnic for the residents of City Mission. And we would like to ask if you would donate the pavilion or a day from 12 to 5 on July 25th, that we could have a picnic at the South Strabane Park.
The community park, the big park.
For our residents of City Mission and our staff. It would be about 200 people.
Ma'am, we kind of discussed this a little bit before the meeting, and we don't do this for anybody else, but you go ahead and have your picnic, and I'm going to donate to the City Mission enough to cover the cost.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're
We
quite
appreciate it. It's a great
You'll have
meeting.
to set the scheduling.
Right, she's got to call Stephanie and make sure that it's available.
Okay. Yeah, it's a Thursday.
Right, should be.
You'll call, you get it. Mr. Bull's gonna take care of finance.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you for coming over.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are.
Thank
past
you.
3.
Sorry we're late.
Yes. So sorry.
My fault.
Okay, motion to adjourn, please. And Mr. Rubin, your second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Somebody, aye. Okay, aye. Okay. Thanks, Russ. Okay,